Guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. Today I have 14 cheap and easy Valentine DIYs to share with you, so let's jump in. So this project is going to be a heart sign, and to start with we're going to take one of these signs from Dollar General. It was only $1. They are out right now, and I'm just going to cover it with some white Waverly chalk paint, and then I'm going to go over it with my antique wax. Once I have it covered with my antique wax, I'm just going to glue on one of the metal hearts from the Dollar Tree love sign that I had left over, and then I'm taking these buttons and I'm just going to glue the buttons onto the sign. So these buttons were some leftover buttons I had from a long time ago. I'm pretty sure these came from Hobby Lobby. I'm just using some larger pink hearts and then some smaller red hearts to glue into the middle of the pink hearts. So here's the finished look of this sign. I think it turned out really adorable, and really the possibilities are endless. If you didn't have the heart buttons, you could use just regular buttons. You could use stickers here if you wanted to. So there's a lot of possibilities you could do with this. The next project is this heart arrow sign. I'm just going to take a sign that I picked up from a thrift store. I believe I paid $2 for it, and I'm just taking some hazelnut chalk paint from Waverly and I'm going to cover the whole sign. I believe I gave it 2 coats because the words were shining through. And then I'm going to take this stencil that I picked up at Walmart. It was in one of the folk art stencil packs. And I'm just going to lay it down on the sign and kind of position it in a place that I want. And then I'm going to take some gold acrylic paint and I'm just going to stencil the arrows onto the sign with the gold acrylic paint. Once I have those stencils on, I'm just going to take some sandpaper that I got at the Dollar Tree and I'm going to just sand over the arrows. A couple of the arrows had some bubbled up paint because I used my heat gun, so once I used the sandpaper, I just sanded those parts off and it gave it the distressed look, so I thought that that worked out well. So just if you're using your heat gun to dry the gold paint, just know if it's thicker when you use the heat gun, sometimes the paint will bubble up. Next, we're going to take some twine and we're going to tie the twine into some small shoelace bows, and we're just going to glue those bows at the end of the arrows. So I chose the middle arrow to get a bow on the left hand side, and then I chose the upper arrow and the bottom arrow on the right hand side. I like to go in odd numbers, and so I felt like if we tried to put twine on the end of each one of these arrows it would be too much, so I just went with the rule of 3. It is totally up to you. If you wanted to put, you know, twine on all the arrows, you could totally do that. I think the ends of the twine would need to be shorter though, because as you can see on the left hand side it kind of overlaps into the other arrows, and so if we were putting a bow there I think it would be too much. Here is the final look, and I think this is adorable. I really like the non-traditional colors with the gold and the brown, and I just think that the twine really adds that extra pop that the sign needed. Little boxes from the Dollar Tree. It has a 3D effect in there, so I just take my scraper and scrape all of that off, and then I'm using some pink folk art chalk paint just to paint the inside of this box. Then I'm going to take these felt hearts that came from the Dollar Tree and some twine, and I'm going to kind of thread the twine in the holes to connect both of the hearts together. I'm going to stuff this with some paper towel to give it kind of a 3D effect, and I just start out by, you know, interlacing the twine, and I just go around kind of like I'm tying my shoe. So once I get about halfway around the heart, I just take a paper towel and I kind of split it in half, and I stuff half of the paper towel into the heart. Now you can use anything you have to stuff this heart. You could use batting, you could use a sock, anything that you have. I just had some paper towel laying around and I thought it would be just fine. You could use Kleenex in here if you wanted, just anything that's not going to kind of show through than the white heart. And then once I have that paper towel in the heart, I'm just going to start doing the rest of this side of the lacing. I do go ahead and stuff the other half of the paper towel in here when I'm about halfway through this side lacing. Once I have that all laced through the entire part of the heart, I just end where I started, and I'm just going to tie a shoelace bow and tie those two pieces together, and then just kind of clip off the end so it's not quite so long. I've used several of these twine hearts that I've made throughout my decor. Some of them are in my tiered tray, some of them are just kind of stuffed in with some pictures on a ledge that I have. So these are pretty fun and easy to make, and you can use them all over your decor. So once we have that finished, we're going to come back to the box, and I decided that the pink needed a little bit of dry brushing in there. It's just a little bit too flat, so I take some white Waverly chalk paint and I just go ahead and get most of it out of my brush, and then I'm just going to go ahead and dry brush the inside of the box. So we're ready to go ahead and place the heart in the box, and it will fit either horizontally or vertically. I just decided that I had a lot of horizontal decor, so I decided to go ahead and do this one vertical. All I'm doing is adding some hot glue to the back and putting it into the middle of this tray. Or frame, I guess, and then that is it. I think it turned out super cute, and I really love those felt hearts with the twine. Like I said, we're just going to take this old sign that I had that was a snowman sign from the Dollar Tree. I have had this one for like a couple years, but the Dollar Tree has this size of sign all the time. In fact, they have some out for Valentine's right now. And I'm going to take these stickers that I got from over there, and I have two types of stickers. I have the hearts that have kind of the diamond jewel in the middle, and then I found these really cute cupcake stickers that they had over there, and I have those as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay out a pattern, and I'm picking the kind of darker pink ones, and I'm going to lay them out in rows of 3, and then I'm just going to take one cupcake sticker, and I kind of play around with the placement of where I want the cupcake sticker to go, and then I end up deciding to go ahead and put it in the middle. I kind of want the cupcake to stick out, so that's why I chose to only do one of the cupcakes. And so these are stickers, and they are pretty like sturdy backing to the stickers. If you wanted to, you could just peel the back off and stick them onto the sign, and I think that they would be just fine sticking on like that. I decided I didn't want to go to the trouble of peeling the backs off, so I just went ahead and took my hot glue gun and placed some hot glue on the back of each of the hearts. Once I have them placed down, I'm just going to take a little twine bow that I tied as a shoelace bow, and I'm going to attach that right into the middle of my cupcake. For this sign, and this is definitely one of my favorite projects of the year. I think it's so adorable, and that cupcake is just one of my favorite things. So if you're new to my channel, I'm Catherine with A Perfect Place to Start. I love to do trash to treasure, Dollar Tree DIYs, and home decor. So if that's something you're into, I would love it if you hit that subscribe button. I also have an Instagram under A Perfect Place to Start where I show my home decor and my DIYs, and in my stories I share more of my everyday life. Take this little kind of shadow box that I picked up at the Dollar General, and I'm going to remove the pencil that's inside, and then I have these wood hearts that I got at the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to use my antique Waverly wax and cover that heart. I also painted the shadow box with my white Waverly chalk paint, and I gave it about 2 coats. I'm going to glue this Jenga block that I got at the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to glue it to the back of the heart, and then I'm going to glue the heart into the box. Next, I'm just going to create a simple bow from this Dollar Tree ribbon. This is one of my favorite ribbons. I try to stock up on it at Valentine's because I use it kind of throughout the year. Once I have my bow made, I'm going to just take one of these pearls from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to glue the pearl into the middle of the bow. Here's the final look of this project, and I think this turned out so adorable, and it's so super simple to make. Our next project is a Valentine gnome, and we're going to start out with a tin can, and I'm just covering the tin can with a sock that I've had on hand, and I'm just going to take some twine and I'm going to tie the top of the can where the sock meets the top of the can, I guess. I'm just going to tie the twine up there, tie it in a knot, and cut off the excess sock. Next, I'm going to take one of those mop pads from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to kind of measure where I want to put the beard, and then I'm going to cut just a portion of this mop off. This thing was super messy, so if you're going to recreate this, just make sure you have a trash can on hand for all the little parts after you start cutting it. I'm going to use my hot glue and just attach this beard to the top of the can. The original inspiration for this gnome came from a video that I saw on Instagram by Olivia's Romantic Home. I did find the actual video on YouTube, and I will link that video down in my description box so you can see the gnome that she came up with as well. So next I'm going to take this Dollar Tree sock and I'm just going to cut off the top. I'm going to turn the sock inside out, and then I'm going to take a piece of twine and I'm going to tie it into a knot around the top of where I cut off the sock, and then I'm going to flip it back around to the right side out so that I have made a hat, but you cannot see the twine on the outside. Once I've completed that, I'm just going to take some batting and I'm going to stuff the batting into the top of the hat so it gives it some shape, and then I'm just going to put the hat down on top of the beard. I'm ready to add a pom-pom to the top of our hat, and I got this pom-pom on a pom-pom garland from the Dollar General, and I'm just going to glue the pom-pom just to the top of the hat. Next, I'm going to take a bead that I got from Amazon, and I'm just going to glue that kind of into the middle of my beard to give him his nose. So he is looking super cute up to this point. I am going to take some felt that I got at the Dollar Tree and I'm just going to kind of roll it up. It was just a rough cut, nothing special, and then I'm just going to take some hot glue once I've rolled it up and glue that down together. I am making the arms for our gnome. Once I have that glued, I'm just going to fold it in half and cut it in the middle so that I have two arms. Once I have my two arms, I'm going to take the end of one of the pieces and I'm going to put some glue on it and fold it over so that I have kind of a clean edge there. And then I'm going to take that portion that I just glued and I'm going to glue that part to the can kind of up by his beard. I'm going to do the same step on the other side of the gnome as well. Once I have that completed on both sides, I'm just going to bring his arms kind of to the front of the can, and then I'm going to glue his arms together. Once I have his arms glued together, I'm going to take one of these like wooden hearts that came from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to glue it into the middle where his hands are coming together. The fun thing about this gnome is you could totally customize it to anything that you liked. I just picked out some socks that I liked and then kind of went with the embellishments that I liked, like the heart. So it would totally be up to you whatever you would want to put on him. That's kind of the fun part about making gnomes. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to follow those same steps for the arms, and I'm going to make him 2 legs. I decided that he would look super cute as a shelf sitter, and I wanted his legs to kind of hang over the shelf, and so I'm going to go ahead and follow those same arm steps with the legs. So once I have it all glued together like I did for the top part, I'm going to cut it in half to give myself the 2 legs, and then I'm going to attach both of the legs to the bottom of the can. I didn't do anything fancy here, I just kind of folded it over like I did when I attached the arm to the can, and then I'm just going to glue that bottom piece onto the bottom of the can, and I repeat that step for both legs. So now we're ready for some feet, and I decided to just take some larger hearts similar to the one that he's holding, and I'm just going to glue his legs onto the hearts so it looks like they're his feet. And I go ahead and repeat that step on both sides. Same thing I did with the arms, where I folded it over and then I glue that on and glue it to the other part of the felt so they are one continuous piece. Here he is. I think he is so adorable. I couldn't stop looking at him once he was sitting on my shelf. Be making this heart box, and I'm just going to take this sign that I picked up at Dollar Tree, and it had some like wooden letters that were 3D in there, and I'm just taking this kind of putty knife and getting all of those wood pieces up, and then I kind of scrape it so that I don't have any of the 3D effect showing onto the board anymore. Once I have that all off, I'm just taking a piece of scrapbook paper and kind of measuring it to the inside of this wood piece. The reason I did not take the wood piece off is that it has like nails or screws or something in the back of it so that it does not come off, and so in order to get it to fit, I just kind of squished my paper in there to the edges of the sign. So once I'm done with that, I just flip it over, take my scissors, and cut that out. Once I make sure it fits, I just adhere it to the back of that sign with some hot glue. I'm ready to take some twine, and I'm just going to kind of measure the twine from one end of the sign to the other. I'm kind of making like a little banner piece here, and I'm going to make 2 of those so that there are 2 strands of the hearts in the box. For my scrapbook paper, I picked a chevron. I loved chevron when it was super popular, and I know it's not really that popular anymore. Let me know, do you still like chevron? Do you decorate with it? I still have some of it around my house, and I still really like the pattern. So let me know if that's one of those trends that you've kept around, or have you moved on to just more of a farmhouse look. Once I have the twine cut, I'm just going to glue it on either end of the box inside. At first I had thought I might need to cover up like gluing it on there, but once I get the hearts on there, it's really not noticeable, so I do not go around and cover it with anything. So now that I have both of them glued on there, I'm going to take these heart stickers from Dollar Tree, and I thought that I had picked up 2 packages of just the red hearts, not the glittery kind, but I guess I didn't, and I didn't have enough of those hearts to do the pattern that I wanted. So instead I decided to use the glittery hearts and the matte red hearts, and I just kind of glue them with 1 of the matte red hearts on each line, and then I use the glittery hearts on the rest of the line. Now this is totally a pattern that you could come up with on your own. I thought that later when I looked at it that it would have been cute maybe to just have 1 of the matte flat hearts in the whole piece, or maybe 1 sparkly heart in the whole piece. Let me know what you guys think. I mean, I think it did turn out super cute, the pattern that it is. I just, once I was looking at it, thought I put both of the matted red hearts in the same place, and I think that I would like it better if they were kind of staggered or diagonal in there. But you guys let me know what you think. Here's the final look of our heart box, and I think it turned out super cute. I mean, I really like it with the chevron behind it, and I think the sparkly hearts add a nice touch. This is a wooden crate that I picked up at Dollar Tree. I'm just going to paint it with some Waverly white chalk paint. I just give it about 1 to 2 coats over the whole box. And then I'm going to take my antique Waverly wax and I'm going to get it out of my brush like pretty much until there's none left on there. And then I'm going to lightly go over the whole box to do some distressing. Once I have the whole box distressed, I did the inside as well. I have these I love you stickers. I have had these for quite some time. I'm pretty sure I got them at Hobby Lobby like a million years ago, but I'm just going to take these I love you stickers and I'm going to put them right on front of the box. My idea for this was to fill the box with some Hershey Kisses because the sticker set had Hershey Kisses with it. You're going to see here in a second that I do put Hershey Kisses in the box. I picked them up at the Dollar Tree. There wasn't very many in the bags, however, and so my tray is kind of empty. So I think that I probably need to go back and get a bigger package of candy to put in there. I also thought, you know, there is a million things you could put in this box because it says I love you. You could put love letters in there, even if you like made some fake looking letters would look cute in there. I don't know, there's just a lot of things you could put in this box. Let me know, what do you guys think would go cute in this box? Here's the final look of the tray. I definitely need some more kisses in there so you get the concept of where I was going with it. It's a shabby chic cone tree, and here are the supplies. Most of these came from the Dollar Tree. I'm using the party hat, some ribbon, some white Waverly chalk paint, and some of the pearls that came from the Dollar Tree. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the party hat and I'm going to take off the chin strap, and then I'm going to paint it with white Waverly chalk paint. And I'm going to do this for all of the cone trees. I don't show it for each one, I'm only going to show it here, but I do go ahead and paint each one of them white just in case some is able to show through when we put the decorations on. I just don't like to have the pattern back there. I mean, most of it gets covered up, so if you want to skip this step you can. I just think it gives it extra coverage under there. Once we have it all covered and it's dry, we're just going to take our ribbon that came from the Dollar Tree and we're going to start hot gluing it onto the party hat. I decided to go ahead and cut each individual strip of the ribbon to go around because it's a cone shape. The ribbon has a tendency to kind of bow out and not glue flat to it when it is wrapped around, so I just thought that this was easier and it gave it a nicer look in the back. It's up to you if you want to just wind your ribbon all around the cone, you could do that too. I just like the way that this looked in the back better. So here's what it looks like with the first strip of ribbon, and then we're just going to come in with another piece of ribbon, and we're not going to go directly above it. I kind of cover a little bit of the bottom strip so they're overlapping each other. So now that we have the second strip done, we're just going to continue these steps all the way around until we get to the top of the cone. And like I said, I just keep cutting the strips to go around, and then this took about 1 roll of ribbon. I would get 2 just to be on the safe side. And then we're just going to take the pearls and we're just going to randomly glue them on. I didn't really have a pattern. I just tried to make sure that there wasn't too many next to each other, and I didn't want to put all that many on, so I just kind of randomly glue them around with my hot glue gun. And then I'm going to add a simple shoelace bow to the top of our cone to give it just an added touch with a pearl in the middle. And here is the shabby chic cone. I think it turned out really cute. I like the simplicity of this ribbon, and it always just screams shabby chic to me. Taking one of these signs from the Dollar Tree, a gift bag from Dollar General, some white chalk paint, and some Mod Podge. You could also use acrylic paint here too if that is what you have on hand. I'm just taking some sandpaper that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just sanding off all that glitter that's on the front of the sign. I realized later when I started painting it that there's these little dots around the sign as well. They don't have glitter on them, but they did kind of shine, like not really shine, but come through the paint to give this sign like 3 or 4 coats of paint just so that those little dots didn't shine through. So if you're recreating this, I would suggest using the sandpaper over the entire sign so that those little dots don't come through as much in the paint. So these signs are one of the signs that Dollar Tree has out all year round. I find these signs normally by the checkout stand. So if you are looking to recreate this, you're going to want to look kind of over there, not in the seasonal decor. Here I'm just painting with my white chalk paint, and like I said, I gave it about 3 or 4 coats of paint just because those little dots were coming through. So I took that gift bag and I cut out the mason jar from the front of the gift bag. The gift bag was also $1. I got it at Dollar General, and they have a lot of really cute stuff out over at Dollar General. So I'm just going to take my Mod Podge and I'm going to cover the back of the mason jar with my Mod Podge, and then I'm going to adhere it to the sign. So I'm just going to go ahead and go over the top of the sign with Mod Podge, and I go ahead and do the entire sign, and then I just kind of press down to make sure the sides are adhered well. Then I took one of the handles of the gift bags and I cut off the black parts that were holding it into the gift bag. I tied it into just a simple shoelace bow, and then I'm going to glue it where the little ribbon was on the jar on the gift bag, just so that I can give it a little bit more dimension. Here's the final look of our project. I think it's adorable. I've been wanting to use this sign for quite some time, and this project seemed to be the perfect fit for that sign. So the next project is this really easy Xoxo wooden block. I picked up this block at the 90% off sale at Hobby Lobby. As I was shopping this year, I decided to go ahead and look at the things that were left over in the sale as something that I could repurpose. And so this block was not something that I would necessarily want to decorate with, but I did decide it could make some other really great project. So I just went ahead and painted it with some white Waverly chalk paint, and I gave it about 2 or 3 coats just to get rid of the front of the sign. After the paint dried, I just went back over just the edges only with my sandpaper. I had some paint that kind of got gloopy on there, and I just sanded that off so that you couldn't tell. And then the side, one of the sides was kind of rough, and so I just decided I'd give it a little bit of distressing all over the sides of the entire block. Once that is all ready, I'm going to take my Dollar General heart sign, and I'm just going to take off the one that says XOXO. If you're recreating this, you could pick any one of these three. The original one I was going to do was the Be Mine, but that's too much white, I thought, and I just wanted more of a white accent piece here since some of my other projects were more busy. So I went ahead and took off the XOXO, and then all I'm going to do is put a generous amount of hot glue on the back and attach it to the wooden block. This is seriously one of the easiest DIYs, and I just think it turned out beautiful. I like the clean lines, I like that there's not a lot going on in it, and I just really like how the red really stands out with that white background. This is definitely one of those projects you could find at Hobby Lobby or TJ Maxx. Project today is going to be this red truck, unfinished wood that I picked up at Dollar General. The whole kit together is only $2. So I'm just going to take my white Waverly chalk paint the base with that, and then start on my truck, and I'm using the crimson Waverly chalk paint to cover the entire part of the truck, and then I go over with the white Waverly chalk paint again with my hearts. So after I get that all painted, I'm taking some scrapbook paper that I had left over from a calendar I made, and I'm just going to trace the inside of the hearts here so that I can put the scrapbook paper behind the black truck, and so that my patterned paper shines through on those hearts that have the holes in them. Once I get them cut out, I'm just going to put them behind there so that I can use some hot glue, and I just kind of have to trim them down a little bit to get them to fit into the hearts. That second heart is really thin back there, and it's kind of a weird shape, so I end up having to kind of play around with the paper a little bit, but once I get it to the right shape, I go ahead and use my hot glue gun and glue down the paper to the back of the truck. So now that I have them both glued on there, the last part of this is to take the black scrapbook paper, and I'm just going to trace around on the paper just the truck. So I go like in between the hearts, and then I go around the whole bottom part of the truck, and then around the cab part of the truck, but I don't trace out the hearts. Once I have it all cut out, I'm just take my hot glue gun again and I'm going to go around the truck and I'm just going to glue that silhouette to the back of the truck. So here's the final look of the truck and I absolutely love it. I do think I could have painted the tires black, but I still think it's adorable. Each one of these projects was under $3 and they all came out super adorable and high-end looking, and I'm really happy with the final look of all three of these. A book banner, and the supplies we're going to need are a book, some stickers, and this clothesline that I picked up at the Dollar Tree. So the first thing we're going to do is just open our book, and I kind of skip over the beginning pages and go just like into the main part of the book, and I'm going to tear out 8 pages because I'm going to make 8 banner pieces. Next, I'm going to take my template, which is actually a banner I picked up at the Dollar Tree. That was a happy birthday banner, and I just decided to go ahead and trace that, and I'm going to trace this banner piece over the book pages. I don't cut off the top here. It looks like I'm just tracing around the words, but when I go ahead and use my scissors, I'm going to cut all the way up to the top because I'm going to fold over that top where there's a lot of white space to glue onto my banner. I am going to go ahead and complete these steps for the next 8 pieces of the book pages that I tore out, and like I said, I'm just folding over, getting rid of that white space so that I can glue the clothesline onto the banner piece. So I'm ready to glue the book pages onto the clothesline, and I'm just measuring about 3 inches between each book page. This clothesline was pretty amazing for the banners that I made today. They do have it in red and green. I'm hoping they have a white color. Let me know if you've seen a white color at the Dollar Tree because I would like to pick up one for maybe spring. So now we're going to take our stickers, and these are just the felt stickers from the Dollar Tree. They do have a sticky back on them, but I was having some trouble getting the sticky back off. So I just decided to use my hot glue gun, put some hot glue on the white part, and I'm going to glue these felt stickers down into about the middle of each of the pages. And I kind of line up the bottom of the heart with the bottom of the banner piece. Here's the final look, and I absolutely love it. It was so simple, but the red really stands out, and with the clothesline, they're kind of a perfect combination, and this looks super cute on my fireplace. I was going for a farmhouse look here, so that is why I kept it simple with the antique Waverly wax, but you could really do anything with these. You could paint them white, you could paint them pink, you could paint them red to match your banner piece. Really anything, any color would look good with these wood pieces. Next I take some twine and I just tie a shoelace bow and I glue that bow over the hole that's in the heart. I feel like the twine gets a little bit lost in the banner after I get it all put up, so I'm thinking any kind of more bolder ribbon here might look cute, but like I said, I was going for a farmhouse look, so that's why I stuck with the twine. I just go ahead and complete that step for each of the rest of the hearts on the banner. Here's the final look of this banner, and I think it turned out super cute. I really love the clothesline for these banners, and it just kind of complemented these particular gift bags really well. I love this banner because it's definitely customizable and it can be made into anyone's style. Thanks for joining me today on this Valentine Make a video, and as always, wherever you are in your journey is a perfect place to start, and I will see you guys in the next video.